to another episode of Food Chain. My name is Emma Davis. In today's episode, we are looking at agric financing, how farmers get money from banks. Most farmers are complaining the banks do not support them, even though they take out applications, but yet they are being tossed around. First, we'll be speaking to Jacob Eshon, who is a noni farmer. So how are you funding your plantation?
I have areas that I have there. So when I take it, I sell it, get money and reinvest it. So purely as I'm speaking to you, I depend on noni. The little I do, I sell, I get the money back to my farm. Currently, I've secured 20 acres at Asutare. I'm supposed to plow, waiting for the rain to come to do the transplanting. I've been able to pay for only 5 acres for the tractor to go and plow. You see? I've got the document and everything for 20 acres as I sit here. But I've been able to pay from my own resources, just from the little noni that I sell. I've been able to pay for 5 acres. Left with how many acres? 15 acres left. I'm also securing 200 acres at New Jerusalem. Whose money should I use? Am I the only person going to benefit from the noni? Noni. It has the individual benefit, the household or the family benefit, the community benefit, the national before the international benefits. So noni is not like cocoa. Somebody should come and carry it and go and tell you the price. You can pluck the fruit and eat and you'll be well. If you are sick, you can even sit at the noni tree and you'll be well. From there, you pay your taxes, the government will get money. Before you export, we sit here. Nigerians are coming to pick noni from Ghana. What do you call UK? Some guys from UK. US, Canada. Just yesterday, I sent some to somebody in Canada. I can give you a whole lecture on noni from morning to evening non-stop. The health benefit of noni. You'll be shocked. And for noni, from the root to the flowers to the fruit, they are all medicinal.
So what call are you making to government now?
1, government should dissolve ADB. Change the policy direction of either that all the directors and the managers are sacked outright, so that they stick to the new people who come will stick to the core mandate of ADB. They should investigate them. All the loans they're giving to real estate, government should retrieve it back and give it to farmers. Either they change the name. Now the ADB is Real Estate Development Bank. It's not Agricultural Development Bank. The policy direction should go to either dissolving ADB or change the name, and we have a different agricultural fund like what the Chinese have. Because for that of the Chinese, once you go into agriculture outside China, they give you huge loans. We don't need to go outside to go and do that. We have the land here. So why is our government not giving us a loan at 1%? But China is able to give their people a loan less than 1% to come and do farming here. It means there's something wrong. 2, the farmers in this country must start to speak out the reality, what they are going through. It seems farmers are timid. As soon as they go and they tell them, you can't get the loan, quietly they just crawl into their shells. Look at Kisley Hayford. He is a financial consultant. Is that okay? Helping companies to get funds for their agricultural products. That's what he has done for his whole life. But when he is into rice milling, he was looking for fund for milling rice in Ghana here. He went to ADB. They took him through all the process. Bring whatever at the tail end, they said, we are sorry, we can't give you the money. Does it make sense? It tells you that those in the bank there are doing different business from the policy direction that was given to them. If the Chinese are more sensible enough to be able to come to Ghana, to come and do farming, come and plant fiber at Akuse, like what I saw, then we don't have leadership in this country. That policy of planting for food and jobs is a joke. It's just a rhetoric. In reality, Ghana by 2030 to 35 will be begging for food from the Chinese. We must change. Policy direction must change. Release, and then the cut-off that the old crops that we know, that's what we are going to fund. It's a myopic thinking on the part of the agricultural policy makers. Is that okay? They need to consult some of us to educate them why the country must focus on noni, not cocoa. Let me tell you, the next 10 years, China is going to supply Europe cocoa, whether you like it or not. The strategy they are using, they are already there. They are going to supply Europe cocoa. They've taken your soil. They've taken the people you train, the agriculture, or what do you call it, the agri extension officer you train that you are not employing. They have taken them to China, and they are paying them $4,000 a month, and they are planting cocoa there in China. So how dare you compare yourself with them? 2, they are making the system such that you, Ghana, they call you a jackroom. When you read any Chinese document and you see a jackroom, it refers to Ghana. They will tell you your soil has been chemicalized and therefore your cocoa is not acceptable. Is that okay? They cripple you. What are you going to depend on? You better shift to noni so that the health of your people are well secured.
If you just joined Food Chain, you just missed Jacob Oshon, who is a noni farmer who bitterly complained about how banks do not support him financially. Next, we'll be speaking to ADB, specifically Mr. Kwame Atrams, who will be explaining why this is so, why farmers are not able to access certain funds they request for.
It is most pathetic to hear that a farmer would claim that the Agricultural Development Bank would deny him credit and indicate to him that if he were into real estate, he would stand a better chance of financing. That, I dare say, is a palpable falsity. It isn't true. It isn't true because, yes, ADB is a universal bank, and therefore we do everything banking. We finance all players within all the sectors. However, it is an agricultural bank, with a universal bank with an agricultural focus, and therefore our priority areas are into the agri value chains, right? And given that that is a priority, as of now, as we speak, we have over 600, close to 600 million invested in agriculture in Ghana. ADB has been financing agriculture since 1965. And even as of today, we are the leading financial institution in agribusiness, of financing agribusinesses in Ghana. So it isn't true that we don't finance agribusinesses or agriculture. However, there are requirements that the farmers and agribusinesses must meet before they qualify for the financing. And so that basically may be the problem with those that haven't been able to access anything from ADB yet. To access financing for your farm or agribusiness, you need to, first of all, present to the bank a business plan or any document that would help us understand your business idea and what you are into. And so once you've done that, then you should, we would want to see what market you are supplying to. It's very key. It's key because that would be the primary source of repayment for your request or facility you're seeking. And then that should be underscored by a cash flow statement or budget, that projection that shows that you can pay back from the proceeds of the project itself or your farm. And beyond that, we would also want to see what contribution the farmer himself has in what he's seeking to do, their equity. and what experience they have in the area they are seeking funding for. Is it one that they have been into for some time, or is their first time? And if it is their first time, who have they assembled to engage in the production they're seeking financing for? That's very important. And then beyond that, we would as well want to know what the credit history has been like. Are they people who've borrowed before? And if they've borrowed before, how well they did on their borrowing. Gone are the days when people could easily borrow from several places and not pay back and move on to the next bank. Today, because of the benefit of the Credit Reference Bureau, once you take a facility, it's logged in there. And if you fail to pay back due to willful default, then the banks all would hesitate to give you any more money, because its character is key in credit delivery. And when all of those are satisfied, as in you having a good credit history, having some good experience in the area of financing you are seeking, and also have a good bank account that has evidence of you being able to manage your finances well and run your account, good records to show what you've done in the past and what you're capable of doing, you stand a very good chance of being granted the facility. Remember that the primary basis upon which any bank would give you that facility is a profitable business, that venture you are undertaking itself can pay from its own resources. However, critical to what you are seeking financing for as well is the what ifs, right? And sadly, because the what ifs by the regulators' requirement have tended to be the game stopper for many people, that is in the collateral we seek when you are not able to pay back from your cash flows. In the minds of many, that has appeared to be what people or financial institutions look out for before they give facilities. But that is not the case at all. Because if, by our assessment, the project itself cannot pay from its cash flows, there is no consideration of what collaterals you have in place. So these things that I've shared with you at this point are the things that farmers and agribusinesses generally should pay close attention to in their quest to get financing for their projects. So if anything keeps changing, they keep changing only because you haven't satisfied the appraiser's quest to understand of, have you convinced them that you have everything in place to be able to deliver on that credit. Agricultural loans are specialized loans. They are specialized because for those in primary production, we deal with live things, and each crop or livestock or animal, for that matter, has their own life cycles. You have different, what we call gestation periods for each of them. The gestation periods are the periods of time within which the crop or the animal is just growing and not reproducing. It is the product of the reproduction. In birds, it would be, say, the eggs they produce for poultry. And for the meat type birds, which we call the broilers, It will be when they are mature and ready for the table. That is what that period from growing or day-old chick, or from being a baby till when they are mature or have started producing eggs, that we call the gestation periods. And because those periods are times when they don't have any produce or product to sell, which would generate the income for repayment of the loans, it is necessary for agric loans to have or considered what we call the moratorium periods. And that is what the agricultural loans come with. So for example, for a pineapple crop, you would have pineapples, a gestation period of about 12 months, after which the crop begins to fruit over time. And so knowing the period over which the crop would fruit, the periods of repayment are then tied to those ones, such that at any point in time where the repayment is scheduled, they would have had enough to sell and generate that income to pay back. Similarly with poultry. So those are the peculiarities with agric loans, and therefore that is how agric loans are structured properly. Those that don't understand agric financing properly, like we do here in ADB, are the ones that would start requesting for repayments right from beginning from a primary producer. That is not a good way of financing agriculture.
Coming up, I'll be speaking with Mr. Techi Sraha, who is an agribusiness specialist at GESAL. And GESAL is an institution responsible for guaranteeing banks who freely give out loans to farmers.
GESAL is a scheme that was set up by the government of Ghana to help increase lending to the agric sector by financial institutions. So the scheme started operations in 2019. And the key focus of the scheme is to reduce the risk of financial institutions lending to the agric sector. That help to provide comfort to the financial institutions. So in our business model, the farmers may not know us because we don't deal directly with the farmers. We guarantee the loans that the financial institutions provide to the agribusiness and the farmers. So how it works is that a farmer which requires funding submits their business proposal to a financial institutions, and once the financial institution goes through the credit review, assessment and approval process, they then come to us for a guarantee. And the purpose of the guarantee is that in case all things being equal, or in case the facility the agribusiness is not able to pay back the facility, then the financial institutions can fall on the guarantee cover. We've issued guarantee cover for loans totaling 186 million in Ghana cedis, going into 43 agribusinesses. And these loans are into various categories. A larger percentage, close to about 60%, going into primary production, where most of these farmers are. Okay, and a chunk of it going to processing, value addition within the agricultural value chain. And if you look at the percentages of the loans that we've guaranteed, about 78, so about 80% into crops and 20% into poultry. And the scheme is set up to be sort of a silent guarantee, because the financial institutions are our primary target. We guarantee their funds that goes into the agribusinesses. So ideally, they are not supposed to know that these loans are guaranteed, and you know the reason why. Okay, right. So that if farmers are saying they are not aware, I mean, this explains the reason why. As at end of April, 16 financial institutions have signed on to a master agreement, and for a bank to benefit from the guarantee scheme, you have to sign into the master agreement, which details the relationship between GESA and then the financial institutions in terms of if there is default, how the process is to go through before you get payment. And I must say that the guarantee cover is up to 70% of the principal amount that the financial institutions loan to agribusinesses.
That's quite huge. So I understand there's about $14 million at GESA for your funding. Is that true?
Okay. GESA is established as a non-bank financial institution, limited liability company wholly owned by government of Ghana, with Ministry of Finance as the principal shareholder. And at the inception, the Bank of Ghana provided a seed capital, and then the government through Ministry of Finance also secured a facility from African Development Bank, which is close to the $40 million. So as we speak, we are capitalized to a tune of 300 million Ghana cedis. So we are quite solid to deliver our objectives.
So how much is allocated to each bank? Or?
This is a guarantee scheme. So it's not like we've allocated funds to banks. It depends on the applications that you bring, okay? And we go through this evaluation and assessment with the banks. So once we are confident that this business proposal is technically and commercially viable, then we provide a guarantee. So depending on the risk level, the risk cover can be 70%, and usually is the applications or businesses that are into primary production that gets the 70% cover, which means that the total loan granted the applicant, if something happens and it goes bad, the bank can come to us for the 70% of the principal, and that gives them the comfort to be able to lend more to agree. So we think that, I mean, in the coming years, we'll be doing more, because our target is to increase lending to the agri sector. We double the lending in 10 years. You know, currently, commercial lending to agri as a percentage of total banking, commercial lending to the banking sector is less than 5%. So we have a big job to increase this, double it in 10 years.
Up next is a Zoom conversation I had with Nana Otuoye-Champon, who is a banking expert, and he explains why some banks are not able to give out loans to farmers.
The issue of a loan is very simple, in the sense that no bank has their own money. It is the depositors' money that is to be lent. And therefore, at the core of every lending is the risk of repayment not being met. And agric is such a risky endeavor. You grow crops, and then they don't do irrigation. They depend on nature, so it doesn't rain. And so the investment that has gone in the agric goes down the drain. And that has been the main reason why agric farmers have been having difficulty in accessing loans. Now, being aware of this, the World Bank undertook a project to assist especially agri developing countries, including Ghana, to come up with a scheme where farmers will be able to access loans at what do you call it? At a rate that the risk will be reduced. So Ghana in 2019 formed a private company under what you call the Ghana Incentive-Based Risk Sharing System for Agri Lending, in short, GIRSAL, GIRSAL. Now, this institution, which is owned fully by Ministry of Finance, has a seed fund from Bank of Ghana and the Agri Development Bank, AFDB, the African Development Bank. They've got capital, and they signed agreement with some of the financial institutions such as universal banks, savings and loans, rural banks, to give a sort of credit guarantee to some of the lending that these institutions are doing. And I think it's appropriate that you're asking this at this time, because not many farmers are aware of the existence of this scheme, which has been set up specifically to assist them to access loans, which otherwise the normal commercial banks will turn them down.
What is the challenge?
The main challenge has been the risk. Agric is a risky business. That is agric that is not supported by man-made effort, but depending on nature.
Okay.
And for a long time, most of our farmers have been doing nature farming, in that they plant the crop or the seed or whatever, and they will depend on nature to fall rain to grow it. On the other hand, the agricultural producing countries, like in the developed countries or even in Africa, South Africa, Zimbabwe, they don't depend on nature for the rain. They depend on man-made irrigation and other implements to assist, because you can maneuver through that way than to plant and then go to church and pray for God to, for the rain to to do this sort of thing. So that's the main reason why Ghanaian farmers have been exercising difficulties, and the present government has taken the bull by the horn by, say, for instance, in the north, trying to construct a dam for each village so that they can use that irrigation to irrigate their farms, because down south there is more rainfall than up north, isn't it? And therefore, down south, you can say you can do agri by nature, because you know when the rain is going to come, but it's not the same up north. So if the farmers will do the right thing, that if they want whatever crop they want to plant, they have to study and know the seasonal pattern that they for that crop, and then once they are able to do that, they will be able to get the loans that they require from the banks. At the moment, quite a lot of the banks are lending to the agri sector.
And that's how we end today's episode of Food Chain. It's unfortunate today we didn't give you the on-field experience, but in today's episode, we're looking at a different dimension, looking at agri financing. And I hope farmers out there got to know the right steps and then the appropriate documents to provide for banks to be able to be funded financially. My name is Emma Davis, and it's still the Food Chain.